Well, looky what I got. What's this, you ask? Well, just look at the box, man. It's the Anbernic RG35XX-H. Does this annoy you as much as it does me? Alright, let me rant here. These names are getting freaking stupid. Anbernic, come on, you could do better than this. First, we get the RG35XX. Okay, you didn't know what to name that one. That's fine. And then you do a refresh and you want it to compete with the Miyoo Mini Plus, so okay, call it the RG35XX Plus. But now we get this new horizontal one and it's the RG35XX-H. H stands for horizontal, so that means that this should be the horizontal version of the RG35XX, right? Except it has the same hardware as the RG35XX Plus, not the same hardware as the RG35XX Non-Plus. So shouldn't this be the RG35XX Plus H? Or, here's an idea, maybe just come up with some new name that isn't a long and confusing letter and number salad. I'm not a naming expert, but I'm pretty sure I could come up with a better name. Hang on. Zazzbizzle. That's what I'd call this, the Anbernic Zazzbizzle. It has a nice ring to it, don't you think? The Anbernic Zazzbizzle, formerly known as the RG35XX-H, is freaking amazing. I was kind of down on the 35XX Plus because it had some limitations, and the Zazzbizzle does have most of the same limitations, but there have been some updates since the 35XX Plus launch, and I've found ways around some of the things that bothered me, and now I'm ready to really give this line of products a second chance. And the Zazzbizzle ticks a few boxes that the 35XX Plus doesn't tick. It has analog sticks, so you can properly play Dreamcast and Nintendo 64 and PSP games without janky software fixes that don't actually fix anything. And it's a horizontal handheld, which gives this a completely different hand feel from the 35XX Plus. And it's more pocket friendly too. I like it for several reasons that I'll go over today, and my biggest gripe, the ugly operating system, is something that I managed to fix, and I'll show you how I did it and how you can too. There's actually a lot to talk about here, so sit down on the floor like a dog, grab a hot mug of root beer, and cut your toenails while you listen to me talk about the Zazzbizzle. Starting off, as always, with the unboxing experience. Sometimes I wonder why I keep showing you the unboxings, because the unboxings are always like the same, same stuff every time. But then again, my favorite part of videos is usually the unboxing, for whatever reason. I don't understand it myself. I think there's just something satisfying about watching another human open a box with fancy tech toys inside it that scratches some primal urge. Here's what's in the box, by the way. Next up, let's do the specs thing. The specific specifications of what makes the Zazzbizzle so special. And it's not really special because it's the exact same internal specifications as the RG35XX Plus. So we get an all-winner H700 CPU, and then we get 1 GB of LPDDR4 RAM. Mine came with a 64 GB SD card for storage, 3.5-inch OCA laminated IPS display with a resolution of 640 by 480. We get a decent 3300 milliamp hour battery. We also get built-in dual band Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.2, and HDMI out, which I really like to see. Overall, these specs are a nice boost from the lower end devices like the original 35XX or the Miyoo Mini, and we'll talk about the performance in a bit. The Zazzbizzle will retail for about $70, more or less, depending on which seller you get it from. I'll include a link below to where you can pick one up if you're interested. At MSRP, it's only $5 more than the 35XX Plus. Same internals and I/O and features and all that, but the Zazzbizzle has dual analog sticks, which is definitely worth an extra $5 if actually playing these higher end games is important to you. On the front, we get a D-pad, face buttons, start and select buttons, and of course we get our dual thumbsticks. On the top, you can see our inline bumpers and triggers, along with a headphone hole, USB-C hole with OTG connection, HDMI hole, and another USB-C hole for charging, and the menu button. On the right side, we have power and reset buttons, On the left side, we have a volume rocker, volume up and volume down. And on the bottom, we get our main system SD card hole, an additional SD card hole for adding storage, and dual stereo speakers that are downward firing. On the back, we get these little grippy pads that Anbernic likes to do sometimes, and I like these. My version is the tactical black version, if you're a ninja, but it also comes in transparent white and transparent purple. I like the look of the transparent white model, personally. As you can see, the Zazzbizzle is quite a different shape compared to the 35XX Plus. Obviously, it's a different style of handheld, but overall, it's not as wide, but it's longer. This surprised me. It's actually a decent amount thinner than the 35XX Plus. And as you can see, those dual analog sticks are pretty darn low profile. And we have inline bumpers and triggers, which are nice and narrow. So I bet this thing does pretty good in the pocket test. And yeah, it does. Look how easy it slides in and out of the old pocket. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. Oh, what am I even doing? It's actually a lot more comfortable to carry around in the pocket than the 35XX Plus because that device has those shoulder button hump protrusions that dig into my leg. This lies flat, and I gotta say, I was not expecting it to be as comfortable as it is in the pocket. But not just in the pocket though, in the hand as well. The tight, efficient design and the low profile sticks give it a premium feel. It really reminds me of the RG405M, which is another Anbernic device with a dumb name that I loved. This is like the little brother of that thing. And obviously it's a natural evolution of the older RG3551P, which I do not have, but I know all about it. So yeah, this is sort of a new version of that thing. I think it's a great size. It's a good blend of pocketability, portability, and comfort. I found the 35XX Plus super comfortable, but horizontal handhelds have a bit more comfortable overall thing going on because you don't get the squishy fingers behind the device. And the inline bumpers and triggers are a contentious topic, but I much prefer this style rather than stacked, just because it's so much more pocket friendly like this. And I have no problem playing with these. I think they feel good. And I should mention that the D-pad is good to go. No false diagonals or anything, no problem pulling off special moves in fighting games. The analog sticks aren't amazing, but they're not terrible. They'll work fine. Face buttons are good, about the same as most Anbernic devices, same as the 35XX Plus. I like them. Overall, I was surprised that I enjoyed the hand feel as much as I do. I'm usually more of a vertical format kind of dweeb, and this isn't going to change that, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a bucket of rubber duckies beside my bathtub. The system on this bad girl is the same as on the 35XX Plus. That is to say, it works, but it's not nearly as good as the custom firmwares that we have on other devices. I complained a lot about the system in my 35XX Plus review, so I'm not going to do the same thing here. The short version is that my choice for budget handheld is still the Miyoo Mini Plus because Onion OS is so freaking good. Check out my 35XX Plus review if you want the skinny on that topic. However, there have been some improvements to the Anbernic system since my 35XX Plus review, and I've learned a few tricks to make it a lot better. Actually, after a bit of tinkering, I'm going to say that it's gone from kind of meh to kind of yeah. I have no major problems with the system now. It takes a bit of work, and I'm not going to go super in-depth here because I'm planning on doing a whole video on this topic. But the short version is that RetroArch can be tweaked to be better. You can make the scaling good, you can set up better hotkeys, you can pick better default options for lots of the emulators, you can set it to automatically save and load your state, enable retro achievements, and then, and this is really what I'm excited to show you, you can change the skin. Finally, GRH on the Retro Handhelds Discord created a script, so I took that script and I converted my Onion OS and Garlic OS TechDweeb skin to work with this system, and I bundled it all together, and you can install it on your device right now. You can download it using the link in the description below. Check out the README in the zip if you want instructions on how to install it. It's super easy. It takes like 5 seconds. I even did an alternate purple version if you want to give that a go. So with all this stuff tweaked, I am way more satisfied with the system. It's really good now. My skin makes me feel at home since this is what I used on all my devices. My settings and hotkeys are just the way that I like them. And apart from a few outlying issues, it's nearly as enjoyable as Garlic OS or Onion OS. And like I said, I'll be making a guide if you need a hand getting this or the 35XX Plus set up in the best way. So get subscribed so you don't miss that. And as for the gaming experience, well, I'm not going to go super in depth here because the performance of the Zazzbizzle would be about the same as on the 35XX Plus, so check out my review of that thing, linked below if you want to know more. The short version is that all the 2D retro systems are going to play great. The games lists that come on here are actually pretty well done. No janky naming convention, mostly English games. Obviously adding your own ROMs is going to be the best, and I'll show you how to do that in my setup video. And because we're on a 640 by 480 screen, that means that lots of systems will run with pixel perfect integer scaling. And those that don't can use shaders that make them scale much better than the default scaling. And then for the higher end stuff, PS1 is going to run great. No issues running any PS1 game. Nintendo 64 is almost 100% perfect. If you switch the GPU driver to the Rice driver in the RetroArch settings, you'll get perfect performance on all but the most demanding games. And obviously on the Zazzbizzle we have analog sticks, so we can control these games as God intended with full precision. With Nintendo DS we have the ability to use the thumbstick to control the on-screen touch stylus. So you can do touchscreen DS stuff. I wouldn't want to play a touch-heavy game, but it works for menus or whatever. And Dreamcast and PSP work okay. You're not going to be running every game from those catalogs, but most work, and considering the price of this thing, that's actually a seriously impressive performance. And you know what? Even though PSP is a widescreen system, I actually kind of like playing it on here. It feels a lot more natural to play these PSP games on a horizontal handheld compared to a vertical one. It's a neat little side activity, I think. Don't buy this for PSP, but you'll probably find that there's quite a few PSP games that you can have fun with on this thing. Oh, and I wanted to show you this because not everyone understands this, and I think it's a big selling point that makes devices like the Zazzbizzle and the 35XX Plus more appealing. You can dock this on your TV, like a Switch or a Steam Deck, and use it as a home console. You can plug in an HDMI cord, connect up one or multiple Bluetooth controllers, and play games on this as if it were an actual gaming system hooked up to a TV. It's portable and you can dock it. So let's draw a conclusion here. Do I like the RG35XX-H? I mean the Zazzbizzle. Do I like this thing? Well, I like it a lot more than I thought I would. I don't think it's going to blow anyone away with what it can do, and it takes a bit of tinkering to improve the experience, and I have no doubt that when we get a proper custom operating system, it'll be a lot more appealing. But I gotta say, it's actually a really freaking enjoyable handheld to game on. I've had a great time playing with this over the last couple of days. The games play great, it's comfortable, home console mode is nice, and the real kicker that makes it appealing, I think, is the value. For under $70, you get a portable, compact, pocket-friendly device with a system that's getting better all the time, now with the TechDweeb skin that makes it probably twice as appealing without it, and the power to play all the retro stuff including PS1, Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, Naomi, Nintendo DS, PSP. I mean, operating system gripes aside, that's actually incredible. This is a must-buy device at this price if you don't have something that does what this does, or if you want a horizontal version. I'm surprised to say it because I wasn't so impressed with the 35XX Plus, but the H is different than the Plus in all the right ways. And now that the system is improving, it's hard to argue with the value. So go ahead, buy this thing if you want one. So you now have my permission. And that brings us to the end. I'd love to know what you think of the Zazzbizzle. Are you into the horizontal form factor? Do you prefer vertical? I still prefer vertical generally. This isn't going to be my daily driver, but I know that lots of people prefer horizontal, so I can see this being a super popular device. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. If you like this video, then definitely check out this video, my review of the 35XX Plus, because that's super relevant if you're thinking about getting the 35XX-H. There's a link on the screen right now and down in the description below, and you can go watch it now because we're done. I'm TechDweeb, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.